Welcome to the March 2026 Public Forum. I advise that this forum is being streamed live to the internet. All those present should refrain from making any defamatory statements, and upon joining these online forums you accept the condition that your image may be recorded and streamed to the internet, as well as being retained in the archive of the recorded council meetings and standing committee meetings. I'll now run through the rules of public forum. Speakers will have a maximum of 5 minutes to speak. When you come forward to speak, please state your name and the item you'll be speaking to. When you have 30 seconds remaining, you'll hear a bell, and at 5 minutes, the bell will be rung multiple times, the microphone will be turned off, and you will conclude speaking. Only registered speakers will be called forward to speak as per the new Code of Meeting Practice. Gallery members should refrain from any disruptive behaviour, including clapping or jeering. We will now have an acknowledgement of country from, I'll do that. I wish to acknowledge the Wiradjuri people of the local area on whose lands we meet, and acknowledge elders past, present and emerging, and pay respects to all Aboriginal people here today. Conflicts of interest. Do any councillors have any conflicts of interest to declare? There being none, we'll move on to the public speakers. First of all, we have Michael Cullen on agenda item 7.6, Draft Dubbo Regional Housing Strategy. Thank you.
Thank you, councillors, for letting us speak. I'm here representing Wolfgang Mitterheimer, who's the owner of the Silo site in Wongarbin, and I'm here mainly to talk about process. When Wolfgang purchased the site, we went into council and met with Steve Jennings to talk about the possibility of what would work on the site. We were quickly disavowed of industrial, and we headed down the residential path, Steve pointing us to studies done for council on the likely shortage of worker accommodation in the area, dealing with power and mining. And so we went in that direction and produced a number of concept plans to Steve. Sorry if I'm putting words in your mouth, Steve, but I don't think he was offended necessarily by those. These were the things that we were looking at to provide worker housing, and the worker housing was not necessarily manufactured housing. It's housing that we wanted to be able to leave on the site that local residents would be proud of in the future, and not necessarily demountables and those sorts of things. So Steve then told us to go and do some studies, some engineering studies around water management, around power and around other things. So we spent some time and over 6 figures in cash getting those studies done. And then before going back to Steve, we thought we would go to the statutory side of council and ask them what zone they thought would be appropriate for the site. They were unable to recommend a zone, and in fact didn't like what we were showing on the plan. So we're now in a situation where we have a disconnect, if you like, between the strategic objectives of council and the statutory process. And so what we're asking for is a civilised conversation with people in the room that are able to make decisions about how we go forward with the project and where we go from here. So is there anything, Wolfgang, you wanted to say in addition? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker is Scott Wilkinson, agenda item 10.1, Rehabilitation Facility Update.
Mayor, councillors and staff of Dubbo Regional Council, good afternoon. My name is Scott Wilkinson. I'm a resident and a member of Living in Wellington. As someone who intends to stand as a candidate for this council in the next election, I am deeply invested in the long-term prosperity and safety of the entire region. Thank you for the opportunity for letting me speak today. I am formally addressing the approved drug and alcohol facility at Spears Drive in Dubbo. I want to preface my comments by acknowledging that our region desperately needs adequate healthcare and rehabilitation services. Addiction is a serious issue, and providing support for those trying to get their lives back on track is important for the broader community. However, the intent of a service does not mean the council's job is done once the ink is dry for approval. While the development applications have been approved, many locals remain deeply concerned about the realities of the facility operating in our community. Specifically, I am asking the council to scrutinise the ongoing management. Proximity of this centre on Spears Drive to residential neighbourhoods means the amenities and safety of nearby families, whether they are homeowners or tenants, must be actively protected, not just considered in hindsight. While formal consultation sessions were held, many residents still felt their most practical day-to-day questions were treated as a tick-the-box exercise rather than genuinely resolved. We still have not been provided with sufficient public accessible guarantees regarding the ongoing site security, staff levelling, and how antisocial behaviour will be managed outside the facility's front doors. Our region is a strong, tight-knit community, but projects like this require social license to operate successfully. Pushing this development into the construction phase without rigorous, transparent management plan only will create division and anxiety. Therefore, I'm formally asking that this council holds the operators at the highest level of accountability. We require immediate public release of a detailed security and operational plan. Furthermore, a request to establishment of a formal community liaison committee, giving the residents a direct ongoing channel to raise issues and hold the facility accountable once its doors open. We expect the council to advocate for the well-being and safety of its residents long after the DA process is finished. Thank you for your time, and thank you for taking my concern seriously.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Peter Reardon, agenda item 9.4, changes to the EP&A Act 1979 and addressing notice of motion renewable energy projects. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Peter Reardon. So we note the response to the notice of meeting in the agenda item 9.4 tonight, and thank the Director and Manager of Building and Development Services for the information regarding renewable energy projects and the role that Council has for state significant development. Very useful. Thank you very much. We understand that there's also competing objectives in the Dubbo Community Strategic Plan 2040, and that's also referenced in 9.4 for discussion later on tonight. Under the pillars within that plan, we acknowledge that Council has not only to attract investment, but also has to have a balanced approach to achieving that plan. There are currently 21 renewable energy projects on that Dubbo Regional Council list, and it would appear that more may be following. For example, there's a recent land grab on the immediate east of town on Dubbo by a proponent called Rock Solid, just there on South Boninyong Road. And there's also all that work along South Lakes by Essential Energies on all those larger transmission lines. The town of Dubbo is already starting to see the impacts of turning our beautiful area into a power station. Now, 2 of those 21 projects, which is Hampton Park and Boree, are strongly opposed by their communities. That leaves 19 other projects by Dubbo Council, for now at least, to achieve their strategic objectives without compromising a balanced, fair, equitable and ethical approach to their host communities. Now, I'm going to give you a brief update on the proponent Van Energy. I was only up here a month ago, okay? There has been zero communication by Van Energy in the last 5 months. Okay, so it's not just disingenuous, it is non-existent. Okay, Van Energy have failed to conduct community information sessions in February as promised, and now we've got to the end of March. Not one contact yet from that proponent. Okay, there are over 45 unanswered questions from the public forum that they held over 5 months ago. They still haven't got back to us on that. The last community update newsletter was November last year, and they said they will only do quarterly newsletters from now on. And this is at a time when the community needs more information and not less. They've gone to quarterly newsletters. Okay, and the last one was last year. They said that they will not provide anything in writing to us from any of our meetings. 5 months ago, we also requested that neighbours in the community be notified by text by any works conducted in the area because, we want to know what's going on with all these strange vehicles. Now, I've only received one text, and that was on the 12th of November last year. So they're either not texting or communicating what's going on as promised by Van Energy, or they're not conducting the necessary field works as required by the SEARS or the EIS. What's going on there? In October last year, Van said to us, as I quote, the substation would be an asset that is owned by Essential Energy. Now, when we approached Essential Energy about that, they were not aware of this. So who's lying? Is it Essential Energy or Van Energy? Okay. In the recent weeks, another politician has yet again named the Lambrook Solar Project, which is another Van Energy project up near Tamworth. They've named them in Parliament. And Colbo in Victoria, another Van Energy project. I caught up with those guys. No effective engagement since that project was approved, even though the council down there and the community were totally against it. So they've had zero engagement down there after the project was approved. Where does this all end? Okay. You only have to drive over the rise coming to the meeting tonight over there at Maryvale to see the impacts of Maryvale on that new solar facility. The sun behind you, and then once all those panels are up, it'll be reflecting straight back at thousands of visitors going along that road. The Geary Energy Hub, another set of infrastructure on the outskirts of Geary. Essential Energy have also informed us that Maryvale have elected, the solar farm there, have elected to build their separate 9-kilometre transmission line directly to the Geary Energy Hub. Where does it end? More transmission lines, okay? And we've recently been made aware of a secret deal between someone and Van Energy to build a 300-man camp to the east side of the project. Enough is enough. What are we doing about it? We've commissioned those couple of reports. We've got the fire study back from our fire specialists. We've got our community engagement specialist starting in April and we'll be going for several months. And we've submitted a range of questions to council and also to politicians. So we're making sure that people know about our objection to this project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Amanda Pepinell on agenda item 10.2, the Code of Meeting Practice.
Hi everyone, my name is Amanda Pepinell. Thank you, Mr Mayor, councillors and council staff. I will be speaking to question or notice 10.2 raised by Deputy Phil Toynton regarding the Code of Meeting Practice. I am here today because many residents across our LGA are deeply concerned about how the new Meeting Model Code of Conduct and the related changes to the model meeting practice are affecting public participation, transparency and trust in council. These concerns are not abstract, they are already being felt across the community. First, the decision to hold the public forum at 4:30 is shutting people out. Most residents are still at work, I should still be at work, picking up their children or managing afternoon responsibilities. Expecting people to rearrange their lives just to speak for 4 to 5 minutes is not reasonable. A public forum that the public cannot attend is not serving its purpose. Second, residents are now restricted to speaking only on items that are listed on the agenda. This is a major shift. The public forum has always been a space where people can raise emerging issues, lived experiences, or concerns that don't already fit into the preset agenda cycle. Limiting speakers to agenda items only means that unless a councillor agrees to move a notice of motion or put a question on notice, and that unless that motion is accepted or the question on notice is accepted, the public has no avenue to raise important matters. That is not transparency, that is gatekeeping. Third, when watching online, the community cannot see whether councillors are attending the public forum. The live stream does not show, or last time the live stream does not show the councillors, only shows the podium. We cannot see who is present, who is listening, or who is choosing not to engage. Attendance and attentiveness are fundamental to accountability. If the public cannot see their elected representatives during the public forum, then the process is not transparent. I do note that not all councillors are here today, and we didn't have an apology at the beginning either of the public forum. So a suggestion may be to hold the public forum 4 days before the standard council meeting. That way councillors can have a time to think about what the people are saying at the public forum before they vote that evening. And fourth, residents can no longer simply turn up and speak. They must now register in advance. This adds another barrier, especially for people who learn about an issue on the day or don't have time or confidence to navigate extra administrative steps. Spontaneous participation is a hallmark of genuine public access. Removing it makes the process less democratic. Finally, what we are seeing is more process and fewer outcomes, more rules, more restrictions, more administrative hurdles, but no meaningful improvement in transparency, access, or community confidence. The community is not asking for perfection. We are asking for fairness. We are asking for openness. We are asking for a system that welcomes participation rather than discourages it. A code of conduct should make council more accessible, not harder to reach. It should strengthen democracy, not narrow it. And it should build trust, not erode it. I will be sending a copy of this speech to Minister Ron Honing, the Minister of Local Government. And I hope that through question or notice 10.2, Deputy Mayor Philip Toynton receives a clear answer confirming that councillors can amend the code of conduct or the code of meeting practice that better reflects the needs of our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That ends the public forum. Please stop the web stream.